Welcome to the Boat Galley podcast. I'm Lynn Pardey, here with practical tips, some stories, and some how-tos for your cruising adventure.
This episode is sponsored by the Boat Galley Guide to Storing Food Without Refrigeration. Have truly great meals with fresh produce, meat, butter, cheese, eggs, and more, even if you don't have a refrigerator or it's tiny. This ebook is now on sale for just $7. Get an extra $1 off with the coupon code PODCAST.
Slow down, slow down. This is my first podcast for the BoatGalley.com podcast station. And I hope to enjoy telling you more of the things I've learned while I was cruising. The things you'll miss. A few weeks ago, I flew to Rarotonga for a wedding that didn't happen. Runaway bride, but that's another story. Rarotonga, the capital of the Cook Islands, is right along the so-called Milk Run. But on the chart, and from the description in the sailing directions, the only possible anchorage didn't appear to be terribly inviting. So though we'd previously sailed close by 3 different times, we had not chosen to call in. Now, as a visiting tourist, I felt compelled to get on the local bus and take a ride right around the island to see what Larry and I had missed. When I reached the port area, I jumped off and walked down to where 3 yachts lay secured, facing toward the sea, bow to a mooring, stern lines stretched across 50 feet of water to bollards on the town quay. I found a bench to sit on as I contemplated other places we'd missed as we voyaged. Missed because of choices forced on us by weather concerns, seasonal concerns, seamanship concerns. We'd had to bypass so many possible destinations during our voyaging years. And as we cruised, it was often hard to avoid wondering if we might have missed something unforgettable, possibly life-changing. This concern was fanned not only by our own imaginations, but by other cruisers who would say, "Whatever you do, don't miss." Then they'd go on to tell us about unforgettable destinations, highlighted by stories of their wonderful encounters and experiences. When we were headed from Scotland's Outer Hebrides towards Norway, we'd missed sailing to the Lofoten Islands, where other sailing friends told us they'd been taken right into the community life and given a chance to sail on long ships that were little different from those sailed by the Vikings who discovered Greenland. We'd missed sailing to Vanuatu, where I'd had a chance to watch a volcano spewing fire into the night skies, something I still hope to see someday. A chance to dive among the World War II planes and vehicles which had been shoved off the sea, just off $1 Million Point. Though we came within 150 miles of Chagos archipelago, with its deserted atolls and amazing diving, we missed that too. The list of places we missed could go on for pages. But as I sat watching the yachts at Rarotonga, dancing to the swell that rolled through the anchorage, I began thinking of the opposite side of that coin. If we'd sailed to Lofoten, we'd have missed the Wooden Boat Festival in Risør, where more than 200 stunning boats arrived from all parts of Norway and from other northern European and Scandinavian countries, their multinational crew eager to race and to socialize. We met dozens of local sailors who included us in their summer sailing plans, then tried and almost convinced us to stay the whole winter through so we could ski along paths all the villagers worked to keep clear for visiting each other. We lay hove to just 100 miles to the east of Chagos, unwilling to take the risks posed by running before gale-force winds and blinding rain through the reef-strewn waters surrounding its inviting atolls. Egged on by stories other cruisers told us of the relaxed weeks and even months they'd spent there, we were determined to visit. So we lay waiting, hove to, for 3 days, hoping the weather would improve. Finally, we gave up and turned south for Rodriguez Island, a place we would have otherwise missed. A day after we turned south, the weather cleared. We arrived in Rodriguez just as a United Nations Commission was working toward improving the life of local fishermen and women. We were invited to join in, which meant we met many local people, including the women who had their own fishing fleet. And among the commissioners we met some of the people who later added immensely to our time in southern Africa. When the approach of the cyclone season forced us to choose between heading north of the equator towards Vanuatu or south of the cyclone zone towards New Zealand, we let a toss of a coin make the choice for us. If that coin had come up tails instead of heads, we might not have found the perfectly protected spot where we eventually built a home base and boat repair yard, one which we returned to between voyages and where I now live almost full-time. As I sat on the waterfront in Rarotonga that day, thinking about places we'd missed, the places we'd chosen to visit instead, I was reminded of an important truism, one I often share with potential cruisers who worry about the risks inherent in their decision to cut the ties of land and head off on a sailing adventure. No matter how many things you do in your life, each choice you make means you're going to miss out on a million other possibilities. But making no choice at all means you miss out on even more. Thanks for listening. If you like the show, please be sure to subscribe in your podcast app. And reviews are always appreciated.